There's a farm I pass a lot in Antwerp in Jefferson County that always makes me rubberneck. It's this big field stretching off to the horizon with hundreds of puffy little lambs. You can't believe so many animals when you drive by. Spring is peak lamb. Ewe lamb, ram lamb. There's no special word for baby lamb, just lamb, lambkin maybe. Anyway, imagine those cute little lambs snuggling up to you minutes after they're born. You won't have to imagine on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Clarkson University, offering over 95 programs of study with campuses in the Hudson Valley, Central, and Northern New York. More at clarkson.edu.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Friday, April 25th. First up, a man injured in an officer-involved shooting in Saratoga County Wednesday faces felony charges. State police say a vehicular pursuit of 45-year-old Billy Cassell III of Kingsbury ended when he crashed into a South Glens Falls home. He then allegedly fled the scene with a loaded shotgun. Police say troopers found Cassell and told him to drop the gun multiple times. They say he raised the firearm towards them, and that's when a trooper fired, striking Cassell in the shoulder. Cassell was treated and released from Albany Medical Center Wednesday evening. He was charged with felony criminal possession of a weapon and menacing a police officer, among other charges. Cassell is in custody at Saratoga County Jail without bail. Dozens of schools across New York have complied with the state education department's ban on mascot names that use Native American terms or themes. They include Messina, Saranac Lake, and Glens Falls in the North Country. President Donald Trump is now reopening the debate over those mascot names. He says a Long Island school district should keep the name the Chiefs. Janice Roman reports for the New York Public News Network.
The Massapequa Union Free School District School Board wants to keep the name. While most school districts are making changes, at least 5 others have decided to file legal challenges to the state mandate. In March, a judge ruled against the Massapequa district after it sued to keep the name. The school board then appealed directly to the Trump administration for support, according to the New York Post. Trump posted on Truth Social Monday in support of the district. He said he would ask the Secretary of Education to get involved, but didn't specify how. I'm Janice Roman for the New York Public News Network.
Glens Falls basketball star Jimmer Fredette announced this week that he's retiring from the sport. Fredette was the all-time leading scorer in high school and then went to earn the Player of the Year in college basketball during his senior year at Brigham Young University. He capped off his basketball career competing at last summer's Paris Olympics. Aaron Cello-Levine reports for the New York Public News Network.
Fredette announced via social media that he would be leaving the sport he had devoted decades of his life to, saying in an Instagram post, quote, "I owe a lot of who I am today to this game, and it's not easy to say goodbye as a player, but the time has come," end quote.
Here's where the crowd wants him to miss. He's ready, and 2,000 points for Jimmer Fredette. He joins a lead.
Emery and Fredette, the senior anchors of this BYU team. Step back again. You cannot give Fredette any space because that step back can be lethal.
That can be. It is.
The Glens Falls native entered the NBA in 2011, where he played for teams across the country for 6 seasons. Fredette also played professionally in Greece and China. Most recently, the 36-year-old represented the United States in the Paris Olympics in 3x3 basketball, though an injury took Fredette out of competition early on in the tournament.
Jimmer Fredette was a local hero in Glens Falls, and we were happy to share him with the rest of the world as they got to see what a basketball prodigy he was.
Mayor Bill Collins says Fredette has always been a role model to young city residents.
We're so grateful for the Fredette family and the Fredette Foundation that still has a presence in Glens Falls, and the difference that he's making in his communities. And so we wish he and his wife and his young family all the best in his retirement. And I can't believe we're actually saying retirement and Jimmer Fredette in the same sentence, but hopefully that means that he's going to spend more time here with us in his hometown USA.
Fredette starred at BYU, with his versatile offensive game taking center stage. In his senior year, he was named the NCAA National Player of the Year. Fredette spoke with WAMC in 2010 ahead of what was billed as a hometown classic game, with BYU facing Vermont in what is now the Cool Insuring Arena in Glens Falls, where he had led his high school team to the state title game.
I never thought I would ever play in Glens Falls again in front of these hometown fans. But now that it's the reality, it's an unbelievable thing.
Fredette scored 26 points as BYU cruised to victory.
I get to show them a little bit of Glens Falls, and I've talked about it a lot, and a lot of people haven't been back east, from Utah or from our team. So just for them to see kind of the atmosphere and what it's like and what kind of a city it is and how kind of older it is and, close, really everybody's really close. The streets are a lot narrower. It's something that's cool for them, I think.
I'm Aaron Shello-Levine for the New York Public News Network.
Farms are coming to life across the North Country for another busy year of growing. For sheep farms, spring is lambing season. NPR's Brian Mann brings us this story from a farm in the Champlain Valley.
It's pitch dark, cold enough we can see our breath in our headlamps when Kristen Kimball leads me inside her barn.
It's about 5:30. And the sun is thinking about coming up. Oh, look, we have triplets.
Kristen wades through a sea of sheep, their long faces eager and curious. Her light picks out a ewe with 3 tiny newborns.
Come on. Here you go. You ready?
There's a reason I'm here. I was having dinner with Kristen and her husband Mark here on their farm. We've been close friends for years. I told them I was feeling sort of blah, and Kristen said I have just the thing. You have to spend time with baby lambs.
So now I just want to make sure that she has milk and that all the babies are doing okay. So let's see, we have a girl and a boy.
They are super healthy. I kneel next to Kristen in the bed of fresh hay, and the lambs, picture long-legged, clumsy poodles, crawl up over my knees.
These look like nice, strong babies. They're going to be just fine.
It's been a bountiful season so far. Kristen says she hopes for up to 400 babies before this is done. The only complication is it's been cold here in New York's Champlain Valley, not far from the Canadian border. One night I spend with Kristen and her flock, it's snowing.
It was 19 the other morning, and they were born and just popped right up and started nursing, which is what you want.
Being here is such a joy. Despite the cold and dark, I keep coming back. I sit in the hay with the big, shaggy shepherd dog while sheep nuzzle around us. You'd think pregnant sheep would be skittish, but Kristen says this is when they're most cuddly.
Like this ewe, for example, she's full of hormones. She's got oxytocin coursing through her system. She's in a mood to be around other creatures and just give love.
The birthing doesn't always go smoothly. One afternoon when I'm in the barn, a ewe has a breech delivery.
So we're going to need to flip the baby around and pull it out.
Kristen calls over a farmhand who helps hold the animal tight while Kristen reaches a practiced hand inside.
I feel a back, but no legs. So now I'm going to try to find which legs go with this lamb.
With her cheek pressed against the lamb's flank, Kristen straightens the first lamb. I see a hoof.
Yeah. All right, now we're going to go quick.
3 tiny lambs pop out, one after the other, wet and floppy.
She's licking the lamb off, which dries the lamb. It's really important when it's cold. And they're bonding.
Kristen grins. I sit cross-legged next to her in the hay that smells of summer. I'm just grateful to be here. Soon I'm covered again in wriggling lambs, eager for warmth and touch.
Are they the best?
They're the best. I'm surrounded. I'm literally just being kind of covered in little... Yes.
I can see Kristen is weary. Lambing is hard and messy, but she also looks happy. There's joy in this season, in this work, and in all this new life. Brian Mann, NPR News in Essex, New York.
The story first aired on NPR's Weekend Edition on Sunday. We have more news all the time and through the weekend on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Alan Dunham of South Glens Falls and Oscar Sarmiento of Potsdam. Have a super weekend. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.